from Montreal.
It's the biggest fight for a boxer from Northern Ireland in many years. Brian MAGEE comes to Canada to see if he can win the IBF Super Middleweight Championship of the world. Standing in his way is this man, the impressive LUCIAN Buthe. Hello and welcome to the Bell Centre in Montreal, where I'm joined by the former middleweight from Derry, John Duddy, who's still living in New York. Here to see if Brian MAGEE can shock the 15,000 fans who've packed in here to see their hometown hero, who's been world champion since 2007. Brian MAGEE is going head-to-head against arguably the best super middleweight fighter in the world, Romanian-born LUCIAN Buthe. He's held the IBF belt since 2007 and is unbeaten in 27 fights. And he's carved out a formidable reputation with 22 knockouts.
This is one of the super fights. Like out here, Buthe is like a Hollywood movie star, you know, and everybody's talking about it, everybody knows him every restaurant, everywhere you go, billboards everywhere. So like, you know, I knew it was big before I left, but I realised how big it actually is now.
Buthe may be a sporting superstar in his adopted city, but MAGEE has been on a charm offensive of his own since he arrived. He took part in a public workout in a shopping centre, which attracted around 1,000 boxing fans. MAGEE's friends and family have travelled here to support him, and he has the backing of a large Irish community in Montreal. He popped into a St. Patrick's Day party to drum up some support. At 35 years old, MAGEE has worked hard for this opportunity of a lifetime.
The preparation for this fight is one of the best, so I think he's ready for it. Buthe, you know, don't get me wrong, he's a very good fighter, one of the best in the world. But that's why we like to beat the best, you know.
Buthe, who's just signed a multi-million-pound television deal, is the overwhelming favourite, but he isn't taking MAGEE for granted.
I respect Brian MAGEE, the best to win. The boxing is very dangerous. I take this seriously, Brian MAGEE.
MAGEE thinks he's got the ability to cause an upset.
You know, this is where you know you're going to fight. You get there, nerves, the butterflies start to come. You know, you come face to face with your opponent. You know, it's fight time.
You feeling confident?
Yeah, I'm feeling confident. I've trained very hard for this fight, so no matter what, I'm getting there, I'm going to give it my all.
Well, John, the odds are stacked heavily against Brian MAGEE. What does he need to do tonight to win this fight?
I think Brian needs to do what he always does, and that's stick to his game plan. Brian's always proven in the past to be a smart fighter, and Buthe has shown in some of his fights he has weaknesses. But as you can see here, he's the #1 favourite. He's a superstar to many of the locals here in Montreal. But I think it's the best atmosphere for anybody, especially Brian, to come here and hopefully take the title off him.
And Brian knows what it's like to go away from home and win.
Yes, and he's seen a lot of hostile crowds before. And Brian's an experienced man. He's been in this game a long time, and he's getting his just rewards. And it's an amazing stage for him, and we're all behind him 100%.
But it's a big, big ask against Buthe, who's been a very, very worthy champion.
Yes, certainly. Like he's shown some weaknesses in the past, but he comes to fights 110% ready. Physically, you've seen him at the weigh-in. Like there's not an ounce of fat on him. But Brian looks just as in good condition, and I think that even though this guy's going to come out here and have to prove to his loyal fans what he can do, Brian's going to come here and do what Brian does, which is do his job and hopefully upset the odds.
Okay, John, thank you very much indeed. It's time to join our commentator, Jim Neely.
The Bell Centre in Montreal, packed, and Brian MAGEE looking nice and relaxed. The challenger already in the ring and focused on what, without a single shadow of a doubt, is going to be the biggest task in a pretty decent professional career. And that is exactly what this evening is all about. And there's the man who will be pretty determined not to have that belt wrested away from his grasp. He's made it his own. Pretty annoyed, LUCIAN Bute, that he wasn't included in the Super Sixes, but he's now switched allegiance to the Showtime network and is hoping for a crack at some of the other world title holders. Well, it's been all fairly amicable all the way through the week. There hasn't been a bad word said by one boxer about another, which at this level is pretty unusual. MAGEE, some 4 years older. He's giving away a couple of inches in height, but he's interestingly got a 2-inch reach advantage. And in terms of rounds box, well, he's much more experienced, but that will count for nothing tonight.
Here is the European champion, ranked the IBF #5 super middleweight world contender. Please welcome the challenger. Veuillez accueillir l'aspirant, introducing Brian MAGEE. And his opponent across the ring, the defending champion on my right, fighting out of the red corner, le champion dans le coin rouge. Wearing white trunks with blue trim, originally from Romania, now fighting out of and representing Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Introducing LUCIAN Bute. And once again, a referee in charge now to give instructions, Pete Podgorski.
Polished introductions from Jimmy Lennon Jr. Final instructions from the referee.
Touch gloves, come out banging at the bell.
Just a final little baleful glance by the defending champion on home territory, Montreal's favourite adopted Romanian. So Pete Podgorski of Chicago, not a bad amateur, not a bad professional boxer himself in the light middleweight division, instructs them to come together. Very rare you get a match-up at this level of two southpaws. And the man in the white trunks, the defending champion, Bute, the taller of the two. That southpaw right of his held very low indeed. And Brian MAGEE, as he has done all the way through a very good career, keeps his guard pretty high. Bute hasn't been with a southpaw for a number of years, but that doesn't seem to faze him at all. A little bit sore that he wasn't named in one of the boxers to compete in the so-called Super Six. Involves Great Britain's Carl Froch and Mikkel Kessler of Denmark. Always a good division, this, the super middleweight division. It was a division that the Americans never really embraced until quite recently. Now they've got Andre Dirrell and Andre Ward and Glenn Johnson all up there in the top 10. And MAGEE perhaps rated overall just outside that top 10. And if there have been criticisms about Bute in recent years, it's the quality of opponent. Pete Podgorski just saying, give yourself some room, man. Good early work by Brian MAGEE, but this is a very tricky opponent. And what Bute has got is firepower. MAGEE only been stopped once in his career so far, and that was by the hard-punching Carl Froch, the man from Nottingham. Interesting style by Bute, just leans in with that right shoulder, is almost tempting MAGEE to come onto him, and MAGEE being very sensible, staying away from him, trying to work behind that southpaw right of his own. He's been an IBO champion, Brian MAGEE, British champion, reigning European champion. Not much between them in this opening round, but maybe with just the occasional little eye-catching shot. MAGEE upright, Bute leaning in again. And Bute anticipating what MAGEE is throwing at him. MAGEE needs to get the left in behind that right hand of his if he's going to do any damage at all. The schedule, remember, for 12 3-minute rounds. Judges at ringside, Britain's Mickey Van, and from Quebec, Pascali Procopio and Benoit Roussel. And the IBF supervisor, the wonderfully named Hiawatha Knight. Well, a little acknowledgement that there wasn't anything between them, but that's just a little probing process. And Bute maybe just shading that opening round. MAGEE being understandably wary of a man, but he got caught there with a good little shot. And Bute maybe just sneaking that opening round, but not much between them. And at ringside, sporting a St. Patrick's Week tie, is Brian MAGEE's manager, Pat MAGEE. Very easy, relaxed, confident opening couple of rounds from Bute, who came to Montreal after the World Championships way back in 2003 when he picked up a bronze medal. And the majority of his contests have been in this Bell Centre here in Montreal. He's occasionally strayed down to the United States of America, but all his world title fights have been in Canada. Only one hasn't been in this particular venue. Pace just up a little bit. Good right hand in reply by Brian MAGEE. Bute not staying in one place long enough for the Ulsterman to try to tag him. And again, Bute's defense is pretty good. He gets that left hand up as MAGEE tries to throw the right. Solid body shot there by Bute. That's one of his trademark shots. He just slips underneath the guard of MAGEE, and he whipped a good solid punch into the well-muscled Ulsterman's midriff. MAGEE won a wonderful European silver medal in 1998 and was expected to win the Commonwealth Games gold medal in Kuala Lumpur of that year, and he disappointed, I think, and he would admit himself against the Englishman John Pearce, who went on to take the gold. That was in the semi-final, and MAGEE, favourite for gold, had to settle for bronze. Well, the favourite here is the man in the white trunks with the blue trim from Pacea in Romania. That was a really good shot by the challenger. Very good shot by MAGEE. Best bit of action from him so far. Well, Bute hasn't changed his stance. He's still keeping that right of his very low. And has MAGEE spotted a little weakness in the champion's defense? And if so, can he exploit it? Bute, the chants going up all around this compact arena. MAGEE needs more of the same. That one single shot may just have nicked this round for him, but he probably conceded the opening two to the champion. Well, MAGEE's corner saying don't let him settle. That was cleverly done. Fast right hand from Bute, and MAGEE comes in and the champion closes him down. Well, this contest is really starting to warm up. A couple of rounds of pretty tentative stuff, and again, nice to see boxers acknowledging each other's skill and courage. Stéphane Larouche, Bute's main trainer, will not be all that terribly happy with that, and that was that lovely left from Brian MAGEE, and Bute's low right hand went even lower, and he suffered for that, and that was a good shot by MAGEE. And that was it again. Lovely feint by MAGEE, and he needed a bit more of the same. Well, 1/3 of this scheduled 12-rounder gone. We conceded the opening 2 rounds. MAGEE came back with a cracking third. Bute maybe just shaded the 4th, and the pace just starting to pick up a little bit. Pete Podgorski breaks them up. Well, Well, there was a cry and a French-Canadian accent of "Go MAGEE, go!" He will have to go, so that's a good right hand by MAGEE. He's getting through with occasional solid singles, scoring shots. Don't push from Pete Podgorski to the champion. He must be getting a wee bit on the flustered side. Now that Bute has switched allegiance to the Showtime network, he's hoping to get a crack at one of the Super 6. And the Danish boxer Mikkel Kester is the man who's on the radar at the moment, who was beaten by the man who dominated the super middleweight division for so many years, the great Welshman Joe Calzaghe. That was a slip. Cheers and whistles echo around the arena, but MAGEE just lost his footing. MAGEE trying to pick up the pace, trying to double up that jab to force his man on the back foot, to try to bring the left round the corner. Good footwork by Bute. Just allowed MAGEE to come in and then feinted and then moved out of reach. Clever boxing by the champion, and a good shot by Bute again. That sweeping right hand round the corner of the Ulsterman's left. Well, MAGEE still very much in this. Huge chance for him at 35 years of age. Lost to Robin Reid. Lost to Carl Froch spectacularly. Had a draw, which I think was a little bit unfair in Dublin for the British light heavyweight title to Tony Oki, when everybody thought he'd won that. End of the fifth in sight. And the pace really has increased. Bit wild there by MAGEE, but they couldn't take advantage. They're now really putting the foot on the gas. There's the 10-second clapper. Little clip by MAGEE with the left hand right at the end of the round. Bute responds himself, and every time MAGEE gets in, the champion responds, and that's why he's the champion. Well, he looks pretty comfortable. That was a good sweeping right hand from Brian MAGEE, right on the face of the man they call Le Tombeur, which I'm sure translated from the French means the playboy or the lady killer. Very proud of his good looks, Mr. Bute. And MAGEE been made to miss there. Good footwork. This to take us up to the halfway stage in this IBF Super Middleweight Championship of the World. Defense for the man in the white trunks, LUCIAN Bute. Pretty decent amateur record himself. Never quite made it. There's a lot of very good Cuban and German middleweights around when he was boxing. Boxed in the World Championships in 1999. Got a bronze medal there. They were held in Houston in Texas. But what a move it's been for him, relocating to Montreal. They've taken him to their hearts, the Québécois. And he's more than justified that faith. MAGEE still the hands held high. He just to watch himself, because Bute is a pretty renowned body puncher. Little tap by MAGEE, there wasn't much behind it. He wasn't really expect Bute to move on to that. Open hand of the right glove by Bute, didn't bother MAGEE too much. MAGEE trying to work hard inside. That was a good right hand into the body by Brian MAGEE. Four times the Irish middleweight champion MAGEE, as an outstanding amateur between 95 and 98. Well, he's giving him the 8 count. And that's going to mean a 10-8 round, I'm pretty sure, for LUCIAN BUTE. And for the first time in this contest, he's bothered MAGEE. And the higher guard of MAGEE has nearly proved his undoing. He did get caught with a belter. Says a lot for MAGEE about his conditioning that he took that. It was a solid body shot by Bute, and the crowd still enjoying that. MAGEE's breathing heavily. That did take a lot out of him. His mouth is open. Well, Bute now just oozing confidence. Stiff right hand by him, looking for that left hand again to the body. Look at the bounce and the work of Bute now. MAGEE's recovered his composure. He got caught with a little corkscrew right uppercut. Pete Podgorski breaks them up. Well, not quite the same little exchange there right at the end, and a very good right, just about on the belt and no more. But it was a very, very good shot by Bute. MAGEE left himself open, and you can see MAGEE's feet nearly came off the floor, and he did so well to sustain that. It was a hard, hard body shot, and that's the one that really takes the steam out of you. Bernardo Checa, originally from Panama City, having a word with Brian MAGEE.
Y a-t-il une mouthpiece?
So second half of this scheduled 12-rounder. MAGEE, well, a couple of points behind, and very certainly a couple of points behind because of that 8 count against him. It's always going to be tough for him against a man who's not only unbeaten but has had a huge number of stoppages on his record. Personally, I'm still not convinced that he's the #1 super middleweight in the world, because Andre Dirrell and Carl Froch and Andre Ward and maybe even Kelly Pavlik might have a word or two about that. Well, a very good German, Robert Stiglitz, who's the WBO champion, is not too far away either. But it's not a bad division. Oh, it was going to be a tough one for MAGEE coming into the Romanian Lions Den in Montreal. MAGEE holding on the blind side of the referee. Bute oozing confidence, and MAGEE just pressing forward, perhaps in a little bit too much of a straight line. There's not a lot of lateral movement about MAGEE's work. Bute using that right hand of his to keep MAGEE's hands up, and may just be contemplating another attack on the midriff. Good variation by Bute again, went downstairs. Well, MAGEE's being invited to come forward, and he's not really doing that. If he's going to win this contest, he's got to take a chance or two. He comes chasing, but he's puffing a little bit. Good footwork again by Bute, whose ring craft is really excellent. Oh, there was that wicked left that wasn't too far away from the MAGEE middle. And Bute is slipping MAGEE's punches. MAGEE seemed to think it was. Referee's going to have a word with him. Don't think it warrants docking a point from Bute, but MAGEE, seasoned pro that he is, just gets on with it and lands with a good little right hand. He gets caught again. Nothing wrong with that. The first one definitely low, the second right on the money, right at the end of a round, and that's going to be another 10-8 round to Lucien Butte. And Brian MAGEE will need all of the 1 minute interval to recover his composure. He came forward, and that was the second one that caught him right in the solar plexus, and there's no escape from that. That is one of the hardest punches any boxer has to take, irrespective of how good their conditioning has been. MAGEE came straight back at him from the lower blow, and that's another angle of the one that put MAGEE on the canvas. Hard body punching from the Romanian. A bit of final advice from MAGEE's corner as the Ulsterman came out for this round. MAGEE needs to find something special now. Butte's looking very confident. MAGEE coming forward, and that's good work from MAGEE. But not really since the third round has he been able to land a meaningful shot on the target area. Well, the crowd oohing out every time their hero throws a shot. MAGEE coming in head down. If he does that, he can leave himself open for an uppercut. That was nearly round the back of the head by Butte. The pace is even increasing. Deafening in the Bell Arena. Well, MAGEE responding in kind. Brave performance by MAGEE. Got to get the first shot in, MAGEE, if he's going to do anything in this contest. Maybe just hesitating a little bit. Butte moves away, changes direction. Trying to tempt MAGEE to come forward. There's that little corkscrew uppercut right hand from the champion. And there's not a lot of MAGEE's punching at the moment. There was a left one in there, but there wasn't a great deal behind him. Good defense by MAGEE, blocked the shot nicely. Nice little combination by Butte, very nearly worked, and again. Well, Pete Pogodsky has said to MAGEE to keep the shots up. Good footwork by MAGEE, got out of the way of that wicked looking left of the body. There's another left hand by Butte, was very low. MAGEE didn't even grimace, he just kept on going. Good kill that he is. Again, that left hand targeting MAGEE's middle. And he's ripping these body shots in. They're coming in around the side and around that lower rib. And MAGEE's conditioning is fabulous, and he took a couple of hard body shots there. And he still looks fairly unruffled, MAGEE, despite the fact that he must be pretty well behind in all three cards. Well, that was a low shot, and that was on the blind side of the referee. It was just right on the hip bone itself, and MAGEE did well to fend the man off for the rest of the round. But at this stage, MAGEE probably needs a stoppage or else to win every single one of the remaining rounds. It's been a very gallant challenge, and it's certainly not over. Watch the heads from the referee from Chicago. Butte's looked supremely confident and supremely capable, albeit on home turf. If he's going to confirm the status that he feels he has as the world's #1 super middleweight, he may well have to travel I'm not sure how he would fare, for instance, in Nottingham in front of Carl Froch and his fans. But that's some way down the road. He's got to get Brian MAGEE out of the way first. And MAGEE has something to say about that, I'm pretty sure. Good to see MAGEE coming forward with that right hand of his own. Good left by MAGEE. Nice variation by Bute, head and then body, trying to just confuse MAGEE a little bit to create an opening. Combination by the challenger. Bute still unmarked. Very good stiff right hand by Bute. Lovely little switch by Bute. Just dummied with the southpaw right and then came across with the left. It's been a terrific professional contest by both these men, because referee Pete Podgorski has very little to do apart from bring them together at the start of the round and let them go at the end of the round. Good shot by MAGEE. Had to stretch a little bit, but caught his man with a good left hand. Needs a lot more of those, however. Good round this. Bute maybe edging it very slightly, but MAGEE certainly had his moments, and there's another sweeping left from MAGEE, maybe with the open part of the glove. But MAGEE just trots back to the corner, and he's still in very good shape. Nice and calm in the Bute corner. Stéphane Larouche not overbothered at this stage. Referee Pete Podgorski clears a little bit of debris away from the immediate MAGEE corner area. I'm not sure if there's a bit of water there. Oh, good right hand by Bute. Nice and snappy from the defending champion, and another good right into the middle. And he seems to have increased his intensity. I think the word said to him in the last interval. Desperately keen to record another stoppage. 23 stoppages from 27 contests. All but one of his world title fights and defenses have ended inside the distance. And while he has landed with some good shots to the head, the problem shot from MAGEE, then the body shots, and there's another one. Bute just finding his range, and MAGEE scuffling a little bit, and he got himself caught again. They're getting on their feet in the Bell Centre, and brave MAGEE comes storming back. And again, that left hand by Bute into MAGEE's body. A little bit of nick under Brian MAGEE's right eye. Oh, another cracking shot, and the referee, as he stopped it. Is that a bit premature? He stopped it, you know. Pete Podgorski has stopped it in the 10th, and Bute has retained his title in pretty emphatic fashion. Brian MAGEE was there or thereabouts all the way through, but the body shots from the Romanian were too much for the Ulsterman, and Bute is still the darling of the crowd in Montreal. For him, tougher contests ahead, Well, the telling shots all the way through this contest came from the champion, and they were body shots, and MAGEE was never trouble to the head, but once Bute, particularly with the left hand, went in underneath the guard of the Ulsterman and the challenger Brian MAGEE, there was always, well, only going to be one outcome. MAGEE was so gallant all the way through, but he simply couldn't absorb the power of those solid shots to the middle.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a time of 2 minutes, 4 seconds in round number 10. Our referee in charge, Pete Podgorski, stops the contest. He is the winner by way of technical knockout. He is still undefeated. He is still the IBF Super Middleweight Champion of the world, LUCIAN Bute.
Well, they were on their feet long before the announcement was made. It was a very impressive ending by LUCIAN Bute. There's a lot more from this fellow to come. A second stoppage for Brian MAGEE in a great career.
It's disappointing, you know. I give it my all, but I thought the early rounds, I was always in the fight. I knew he was going to be cagey, hard to get to, hard to hit, and I had to watch him punish me, like, you know, falling into his punches. And you seen that's what happened at the end. He fell into his big, left uppercut, being a southpaw, but you know, and he hit hard to the body too. But I hit him hard back, and he stayed away. But you know, I thought it was going to be finished with a big punch, but he got me first at the end there. I think the body shots, he just took it out of me where, you know, I thought my eardrums kind of was bust, and I don't think I didn't recover in time for to make a count, you know.
Well, for the first 5 rounds, you kept this place pretty quiet.
Yeah, I knew I was always in it, and every time he hit me back, I responded well, and heard him, and I could tell in there, by, you know, you feel his body reaction every time he was moving away, and he said afterwards as well there. But you know, I knew he was a great champion, and he was up against the best in the world, but you know, it's just on the night of that, they went to the full 12 rounds, but you know, I stuck in there what I could and went for the end, like, you know, if we're going to go down in flames. But it was good. I put up a good show against the best in the world, so I'm happy. I'm fit and healthy. I go home, see my wee girl, go back to normal again, go back to my fitness and enjoying life for a while, and then go back on the road to plan what I'm going to do next. You know, I turned down the WBA World Title shot. That could be still on the cards. I came here and fought the number 1 in the world, so you know, I'm still in the top 10 in the world. I'll see where I go to next.
Bute is a very special fighter. I think he's clearly the best in the world, but I think Brian's stock has risen. You know, people said coming here he had very little chance. I mean, even when things were going wrong, Brian fought back very, very hard, and I mean, the Bute camp were, you know, they were singing his praises there at the end, saying, look, he gave LUCIAN a really hard fight, and we can't ask any more than Brian giving his best. He gave his best. Bute was just too good.
Well, John, Brian defeated tonight, but certainly not disgraced.
Oh, certainly not. I think LUCIAN Bute is proven to be probably one of the best super middleweights around, and I think Brian tonight done a tremendous job, and we all knew Bute's good punch, the left hand to the body, and you could see from the first round on he was looking to land it straight away. But Brian, the 15,000 people in here, he had them quiet, and for the first 6 rounds they were thinking they were in trouble, you know. But the guy's a good champion. He prepared well. He knew what Brian's best punches were, and Brian already says a lot harder to hit than he thought, you know. So he never took Brian lightly, and Brian, I think, put up a tremendous fight, and should be very proud of what he done.
Bute was always looking to offload that very dangerous left hand, wasn't he? And that's what did the damage in the end.
Yes, well, you know, I was always a lover of body punches too, and you can shake off shots to the chin, you know. But he's even shown that in his last 4 fights, that left hand to the body is a devastating punch, you know. And Brian took several of them and was still able to keep on fighting, you know. He showed a lot of guts and a lot of courage. But at the end of the day, the guy's good. You know, the guy was good, and unfortunately Brian just came up a little short tonight. But a great fight, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of him.
Okay, John, thanks very much. Brian MAGEE beaten, but says he'll be back from all of us here. Let's bye-bye.
the Australian Grand Prix. Next Sunday, 6 a.m. on BBC One, Radio 5 Live and on BBC One HD.
Some changes to our programme start times tonight here in BBC One Northern Ireland. Comic relief highlights are coming up next, and learning the art of